I had a viewer ask me the other day to do a video around creating friendships with people with autism spectrum disorders, high functioning autism, PDD-NOS, and other pervasive developmental disorders. And I thought I would do a video on that. To give some background as to why I believe I am a good person to talk about this, I have a diagnosis of PDD-NOS, of course, as I mentioned in my other video, which I will link in the description below. But I also went to university for disability studies and studied around best practices on in disability services and general disability and the social construct of disability. One of the practicums I had while I was at university was a program where a number of people with disabilities would get together on a weekly basis, and they'd go out and do things like go watch movies or create arts and crafts, go bowling, do that sort of thing. Stuff that general friends would do, but nothing specific. And I found that a couple of these people were friends with each other. A couple of the people that had been meeting for a while were friends with each other. But the friendships were based around their activities there at the movies or whatever it was. It was all based around that specific interaction. And I realized something very important about friendship there, that if there isn't something for both parties, then it's not likely that the friendship is going to be very strong or built on a solid foundation. Another experience I had that really ties into this is my attendance to meetings where multiple people with high-functioning autism and Asperger's syndrome, it was just kind of a support group meeting, and I noticed every single one of them had one specific topic that they either wanted to talk about or they had an obsession over. And that's something that's very common after looking at all of the diagnostic criteria for autism spectrum disorders, and of course going through the process getting diagnosed myself. I'm very aware that most people with my diagnosis, Asperger's syndrome, or high-functioning autism have one specific interest, and that really grabs them and takes hold. And that's what I really want to give advice around. Like, you have to start there for building your social circle and your support mechanisms. Everyone needs social support. Everyone needs people to look up to and to have people look out for them. What I recommend in order to build a stronger social circle around yourself, other than just the doctors and maybe social workers or your family, your close family, what I would recommend is to get that one thing that you're super passionate about. And if you don't have anything that you're super passionate about, it's a really good idea to find something that you're pretty passionate about, and then really take the risk because you're so obsessed with this one thing. Take the risk and just go out and meet somebody at a location where it's obvious what you're doing. For me, this was Super Smash Bros. I've loved Super Smash Bros. My entire life. That's my obsession. That's my game series. And a big part of my social circle is made up of people that I've met because I went to meetups for Super Smash Brothers. I had the same interests that they had, and I could offer them value just because of my hard work, effort, and research, and they could do the same for me. And I think that's really the basis of friendship, is that you have something to offer that person and they have something to offer you in return, and you're both mutually interested in that agreement. I have a friend with a diagnosis, the same diagnosis I have, who I attempted to create a close friendship with him based solely on our similarities in terms of diagnosis. I'm not going to mention names, but you know who you are if you're watching. I invited him over to my house, and other than our similarities, diagnosis-wise, our symptoms, we didn't really have much in common. I hooked up my Wii in order to play some old video games with him, and he didn't really like old video games. That wasn't really his thing. So he was very put aback by it, and he said that the graphics looked really badly, and that really put a dent in our friendship. Obviously, I didn't really want to hang out with him anymore, because although we had the same diagnosis and we had very similar symptoms, and we're also somewhat similar people in general, it just wasn't working out. I really don't advise trying to find friends just that have your diagnosis or your symptoms, because although they may be able to introduce some techniques for you to be able to control your some of the more harmful behaviors that often develop as a result of the routine that many people with autism spectrum disorders follow. So my opinion is that you should find friends by going out into social situations that have clear goals and that you have common goals. Thank you for your time, and take care.